I accepted a calendar invite titled Practice Breakup. She brought a script for staying hook. The subject line popped up between a dentist reminder and a Sprint retro. Practice Breakup. Wed 19 30 21 00 optional. The organizer was my wife. The location was bench by the fountain, which in our neighborhood is code for don't make this worse with eye contact yet. I clicked accept because decline felt like a confession I wasn't ready to write. I'm Theo, 36, product ops at a startup that believes the calendar is a personality test. My wife is Myra, 35, theater manager who can get a light to cooperate by persuading it the audience deserves better. We are the kind of couple that keeps batteries in a jar and a budget in a spreadsheet. Lately, we've been good at being roommates who high-five nicely. I miss the kind of bad we used to be, the kind that led to apologies and long, leaning kisses in doorways. The invite had an agenda attached like it was a meeting I could do well at. Opening statements, 3 min each. Terms of separation, we don't want 10 min. Terms of staying, we haven't tried, 25 min. Snack. Snack was underlined. The notes field said, bring one object that explains you. Wear shoes you can walk in. No phones. I arrived early because that is my way of pretending I am brave. The fountain was doing its winter impression, water off, pigeons in charge. Myra sat on the bench with a thermos and 2 paper cups, wearing the jacket she keeps for nights when she needs pockets to hold courage. She smiled the way stage lights warm up, slow, all at once. You accepted, she said. I thought if I declined I'd get charged a fee, I said, and the joke did us the small service of making both of us breathe. She poured tea the color of sensible decisions. This isn't a threat, she said, handing me a cup. It's rehearsal. I need practice telling you the truth before it jumps out of a closet and scares both of us. You sent me a calendar invite for intimacy, I said, aiming for rye and landing on grateful. I respect the brand. She took a breath. Opening statements, she said, checking her watch because rituals like punctuality. 3 minutes each, true things only. Then we can be messy. I didn't prepare, which is new. I love you, I said, because this is the one true sentence that never gets old when you are serious about it. I am lonely next to you in exactly the way that makes me feel stupid for saying it out loud. I stared at the tea. I'm scared of wanting too much and of wanting too little, and of becoming the kind of man who solves things until the person he loves is only a problem he gets to fix. She looked at the fountain like it owed her a line. I love you, she said. I've been rehearsing leaving because I'm bad at rehearsing staying. I keep telling myself I'm practical, that my job is to keep the cues running. But sometimes I feel like I'm only correcting tech when what I want is a duet. She laughed without teeth. Also, you chew ice when you are anxious, and it makes me want to kiss you and hit a fire alarm. We grinned because opening statements are supposed to be dramatic and ours were just honest. A pigeon strutted by like he had notes. Terms we don't want, she said, if we were to break up. She pulled a folded sheet from her pocket. No villains, no secret committees, no narrating the other person's reasons. We can keep friends. We can share the good plates when one of us makes a nice dinner. We return house keys with fanfare. She looked at me. We don't want any of that, do we? No, I said, surprised by how fast my mouth decided. I don't want a clean exit. I want a messy stay. Then terms of staying we haven't tried, she said, flipping the page. I brought a script. She passed me a stapled packet. On the cover, 2 people, 1 scene, a rehearsal asterisk. Below, props, honesty, hands, snack. You wrote us a play, I wrote us a scene, she said, so we can practice lines before we have to say them in a kitchen while pasta boils. The script wasn't Shakespeare. It was better than that. It had stage directions like, he wants to interrupt, he doesn't. She wants to fix, she doesn't. The light is on in the hallway as an apology. The tea is hot enough to burn the first sip, they sip anyway. Beat 1 requests. My lines were printed in my font because this is our kind of marriage. I read, I want your hand on my back at crosswalks. It is a small thing that makes the street feel like a plan. Hers. I want you to touch me in doorways, not as prelude, as punctuation. Stage direction. They practice by standing, touching, laughing at themselves, sitting. We did and felt ridiculous and alive. Beat 2, confessions. Mine, when I get quiet, I'm trying not to break anything. I think silence is polite until I remember it's just hiding. Hers, when I give instructions, it's because I'm scared. I want us to be a team, not a tech note. Stage direction. They say I'm embarrassed before saying anything that wants to wear armor. Beat 3, ceremony. Her line, I propose we do a thing called run through. Once a week we sit for 20 minutes and say our lines badly, then again better. No phones. Snack. My line, I accept. I propose last looks after 9. If either of us says last looks, we stop arguing and only say what we would miss in the morning. Snack, I said, smiling down at the script like a prayer book for idiots God still loves. She lifted the thermos and a paper bag. Shortbread. It crumbles like ego. We ate, and the crumbs were an excellent metaphor that we did not discuss because we were busy enjoying sugar. I took the object from my coat pocket, per the invite, a small, cheap red thread I had wrapped around a cardboard bobbin. This is from a workshop I accidentally attended, I said. We tied it around our wrists and tugged when we wanted to pull on something gentle. I kept it because I wanted to remember that attention is a string. She pulled a small brass key from her pocket on a ribbon. This unlocks the prop cabinet at the theater, she said. It is where we keep things that pretend to be other things. I brought it because I want to stop pretending. We swapped. The red thread around her wrist looked monumental because it was small. The key in my palm felt heavy because it was honest. We watched the pigeons forgive us for existing. Walk, she said. Shoes we can walk in were on the invite. We walked the long rectangle of the park, past couples practicing languages and a man vaping like he had invented weather. We didn't hold hands at first because holding hands can be a promise you have to be willing to keep. After a block, she hooked a finger in my sleeve and I took the hint like a graduate student being rescued from theory. Tell me what leaving would solve, she said. One real thing. The part where I feel like failing at daily romance means we must be wrong for each other, I said. The romance would stop failing because it would be someone else's problem. Tell me what staying could solve, she said. The part where I mistake productivity for love, I said. The part where I forget to want because I don't want to be ridiculous. Your turn, I said. What would leaving solve? The part where I pretend to be okay with being adored by a schedule, she said. What could staying solve? The part where I give you stage directions instead of wanting. We stopped under a streetlight that had the grace to be bruised with bugs. Last looks, I said, trying out the phrase like a secret handshake. She took a breath. I would miss the way you count lampposts when you're worried, she said. I would miss your shoulder blades under a t-shirt like bookmarks. I would miss how you whisper the first line of a show to yourself while the audience is still finding seats, I said. I would miss the smell of sawdust in your hair and how it makes the world feel under construction instead of broken. We stood there and failed at not crying, which is the good kind of failure. Then we went back to the bench and filled in the rest of the agenda like people who have decided not to be cool. Practices we're willing to try, she said, producing a pen because of course. We wrote, doorway rule asterisk, touch in passing. It counts. No scorekeeping. Run through asterisk. Sundays 20:00, 2 runs of the week's lines bad then better. Snack mandatory.